We're starting now? Race beginning in 15 seconds. Finally. Alright. Good luck, everybody. What? It took like all of 5 seconds for someone to forfeit. What happened? Oh, fuck. Wow. Wow. Yeah, I knew I should have practiced earlier. Nice, didn't die at the start. I know I'm not like, I don't know, it doesn't feel like it's in my place to talk about like the development of this community, because I wasn't here first, but I was here for like a really long time. But it's really, really nice to see how far this game has come. Recently hit its probably most important minute barrier that the game will ever see, unless something really, really big gets found. Shout out to McKinn, by the way, for pulling that off. But like when I started running the game, the world record was 45:26. At the time, that was like an unreal time. And now that's like the average. This game has come such a long way since then. And that's largely due in part by the awesome community that runs it. A lot of people that look for tricks, a lot of people that really push the game. It's on and off, depending on how like busy it is. It's really, really good, so it's not that large of a community. But it's sizable enough that it makes a difference. And it makes a difference in the game and the game's longevity and improvement. Guides coming out now. Lots of really deep understanding of how the game works. Yep. And I'm really glad to be around such people that really care about this game. That want to see it grow more. It's really heartwarming. What the heck did we do to poor Blinky? We mutilated him. That's what we did. Got destroyed. That's what happened to him. Oh yeah, and if you're watching, and this game looks really interesting at all, we have tons of guides out for the game. And there's like a lot of really interesting maneuvers and tricks to it, but this game has a really low entry ceiling. Think of it like Mario 64, where there's like a lot of tricks at a high level, and there's a lot of kind of dumb things you could do. But hey, there's a lot of really cool tricks and stuff like that, but you don't have to learn all those, you know? It's a pretty pick up and play game. So I highly encourage anybody who has a remote interest in it. Pick it up, try it out, see what you think about it. The game runs pretty well in Dolphin. The game is pretty cheap to acquire. All in all, a good time. A lot of consoles that this game came out on too, which is really interesting because this game has a really fascinating release thing going on for it. So many console ports, and all of them are just different between each and every single one of them. And it's really, really, really silly to keep track of them all. But the most common one played is on GameCube, which is what I'm playing this one on. Just have a take a plastic wrap off the box set. That's amazing. I will say, though, because I can't really come up with, like, a lot of commentary because I'm just doing an 80% race, instead this is going to turn into me rambling about a reflection off the cuff. So I don't really know how well this is going to turn out in terms of commentary, but, yeah. I think I really want to go back and find that old Google Doc leaderboard. That Google Doc leaderboard has like maybe like 7, 8 names on it when I first went on it, and then I think it went up to like 12 to 14. Now the leaderboard has like 80, 90 people on it, which is unreal. I think that the last time I submitted to that Google Doc leaderboard, I believe it was like an hour and 15 minutes. Which is around, which after that time that I got, we started transferring everything over to speedrun.com. And ever since then, the community has grown a lot larger because now it was easily accessible to find the leaderboard of the game. Which is also really great for that speedrun.com is a website that exists because of that fact. I mean, think of like all the games that were much like this one, just in secrecy because people just only faintly remember this game, or it didn't really shine as bright as a lot of other games that came out at the time. Like, this had to compete with Wind Waker the same year it came out. So it didn't really have that, like, space to really grow that much. But think of, like, all the games that, because of speedrun.com, wouldn't find as much of a community because you had to really, like, scour the internet and find certain people to actually get access to the leaderboards and submit your runs. Like, back then, it was, like, some Skype group. It was, like, a Skype group with, like, 15, 20 people in it, and that was the entire Pac-Man community. A large percentage of that was just running this game, but, like, you had all types of people in there. It was primarily dominated by this game, and the Discord for this game, or for the Pac-Man Speedrun community, is still largely dominated by this game. And that's okay. You know, that's all perfectly well and good. This is easily the most consistently popular Pac-Man game to speedrun for a lot of reasons. For partly nostalgia, solid platforming, engaging movement. It's not as hard as the first game, but it's not as basic as, like, the original Pac-Man, but I'm pretty sure the original Pac-Man has more runners on speedrun.com than this one. Which is probably just because it's fucking Pac-Man. That's the only explanation I can give you. It's Pac-Man, and it's really simple. So a lot of people do, like, oh yeah, I'll do like a 2-3 minute speedrun of Pac-Man. Sure, why not? Oh, damn it. I was doing just fine this whole run until then. I've never died there before. The game didn't register my jump. Ah, man. That's funny. I'm kind of upset, but that was kind of funny. There we go. Jeez. Oh, okay, sure. I did kind of wish more other categories of this game got more attention over these last couple of years. I mean, they definitely have. As the community has grown, more categories have gotten more activity. But it's definitely largely just any percent for a lot of reasons. Just largely collecting all these things is kind of a pain in the neck, and the level design is not really always befitting of it. There's just so much shit to collect in this game. It's understandable why not a lot of people run the collectible categories. It makes a lot of sense. I still wish people did, though. Easily my favorite category to this day is still 152 tokens, which was originally called all physical tokens because there's 152 traditional tokens in the game. And then there's a whole 37 that are just bonus tokens from 100%ing a level and doing the time trial for a level. But a couple of years ago, me and Lori, at the time, wanted to make a category where you just grab all the tokens that were visible in levels. So we called them all physical tokens until it got a category renamed to 152. Because it just made more sense because 189 tokens was the name of the max percent category. So it just made sense to do it that way. It's still my favorite category. It has a lot of cool movement. You get to see a little bit more of the game. You get to collect these things, which are honestly really fun to collect. It has a lot of unique strategies as well. The problem with the speedrun, though, is that there's a level where it's just kind of random as to whether you actually get all the tokens you need or not. And that one thing kind of single-handedly murdered the category for a lot of people, understandably, again. But still, I really like the category. And because I helped route it in the beginning, it's like my little baby category. Ow. Listen, I'm being a father of an inanimate concept, not an actual living thing, so it's okay. I still remember things like the Japanese versus American version debate. In my opinion, I still kind of hold this token that I really wish that the categories were not split. I don't know, it's probably because I like speedrun like Zelda games and shit like that, so to me it's like, yeah, no, the languages should be kind of confined to it. I kind of see the argument against it, but to me, I don't really agree with it. Nonetheless, that is a current leaderboard status right now. The North American and PAL regions are one category, and then the Japanese version is another category, largely due to the fact that the game is much easier. So there's like different holes that would be in the that not gonna make it. That worked. Holy crap! There's holes in the North American version that were kind of like filled up in the Japanese version. Pac-Man's physics are slightly different. He's like a little bit more floatier, I believe. And then things like extra pack chains and slight item count changes were made. And it's overall an easier experience. And The big thing, though, is that bosses having half health kind of saves, like, a lot of time. So it goes, like, toe-to-toe and or is faster than the North American version. Which is super interesting. But I think also because of the fact that it's, like, not... Because it got separated, and the North American version is just easier to get, that also kind of shot that in the foot, that nobody's really going to be running that much. Or, well, the people that do run it are the established runners, not really the runners that are, like, looking to get into the game. It's like, oh, what's the fastest version? Oh, it's the Japanese version. I should go get that version. But I remember that causing, like, a whole issue in the community because someone used it in a tournament. And that kind of just made a couple people angry. And then that kind of set off a whole chain of events. And here we are. The versions of the game are split. Which is fine. It's overall fine. Like, I'm not mad at it or anything. I don't agree with it, but I'm not, like, upset about it. What's done is done. Remember at the long time ago there used to be like something that was somewhat active a little bit was a Pac-Man 2 bingo. And I really like the idea of this game having a bingo, and I kind of hope that someday that can get reignited into something new, because this game has so many collectibles that you can totally make an interesting bingo out of it. The thing is, though, is that it's somewhat turned into, like, yeah, let's just keep going with this game in, like, it's just kind of like, yeah, go from level to level, have, like, a nearly completed save file, go from level to level, and just keep doing objectives. It kind of got, like, somewhat stale after a while, and also there were just some, like, ridiculous goals on there that was justified by, like, they can't all be easy, but then there's, like, a difference between easy and then something that's, like, borderline task only. So, it'd be really interesting if that kind of got, like, reevaluated and reignited again. I think it can make for an interesting set of races. Oh yeah, and speaking of like tournaments I mentioned earlier, the game gets yearly tournaments. We do them every spring. So in April this year, we're going to be doing another any percent tournament, which if you're interested in getting into that, totally should hop onto this game and just learn the game and join us for the tournament. On speedrun.com, we have a link for the Discord for the game, where you can join and start learning. And then in the Discord itself, we have a tournament Discord, where all that gets thrown up. And not just World 2, we also do tournaments for other Pac-Man games every once in a while. It's like usually 2 Pac-Man games in a year. And then the second tournament usually is the other game, but then because of this game's popularity, we do this game once a year, and then a second game on the second half of the year. And yeah, it's pretty neat. What else? Oh yeah, Volcanic Panic. I remember back when I was first learning this game, how nuts the skip drove me. Because it's, like, not hard, you're just on a timer. So I would just spend hours trying to get it. And to no avail. It just gets better as you get better at moving in the game. And because at the time the game was just not as developed and understood, and I was a new runner, I never really got the skip unless it took a couple tries. I remember, though, like, how excited I was when I first got it. It was magical. See, I almost didn't make it there. I popped off so hard when I first got it. Yeah, really cool. That's a really cool skip. The Japanese version in Volcanic Panic, the end goal of the level is actually moved. So we had to find a different skip, and after a bit of patience and practicing, I found how to do the Japanese alternative, which looks a lot sillier. And I'd argue is kind of easier, actually. At least I think it's easier. It's a little bit more finicky, but it's not as demanding because you have so much time to do it and you're in the lava for a lot less. So, God, and this room. I remember we had to do this really stupid butt bounce on that platform on the very right to get over here. That used to murder runs. It was so hilarious. It was so depressing and so hilarious at the same time. Because it was super simple, you know? It's just a butt bounce on the edge of a platform, but it was so, like... It was precise enough that it was difficult, but it wasn't, like, so precise that you, like, understood that it was a really, really hard trick. So it turned into this trick of, like, I shouldn't be missing this. Why am I missing this? I'm not doing amazing, but I'm just kind of like... Yeah. Yeah, there is. I did it. Which, by the way, that slide is anger-inducing. It's not really a well-done slide. Yeah, I just did it. So funny, the stream delay just like, hey, isn't there this skip right after I just did it? I don't do all the hardest tricks, but I do most of them. Oh my god. God, this fight right here has a legacy of just being brutal for casual players and then being atrocious for speedrunners. And then as more stuff was found that made this fight faster and faster, it just got worse and worse and worse. It was so fucking dumb. And as of like maybe like 3-4 months ago, it got even worse. This fight is now just a brutal, brutal fight for the speedrun because now it just annihilates runs like it's nobody's business. Don't kill me. This is not good. Yeah, this game has slides and Blinky's name switch. However, it's not the first game to actually do this. The first game responsible, I believe, was actually Pac-Man Arrangement. Oh, fuck! Alright. Pac-Man Arrangement was the first game that was responsible for that switch, and then they switched it around... I think around the time of the Ghostly Adventures era. Like, starting with, like, Pac-Man Party. Wow, I missed that. Alright. Yikes. Alright, I'm gonna stop doing this fancy stuff. This level's hard. This boss fight is really hard. That being said, though, this song is a huge banger. Which, by the way, that goes for, like, all the songs in this game. I love the motif in this game, where, like, each level is an adapted version of the first level song. And then the boss is its own thing. But kind of takes on some of those musical cues from the first couple levels. But it's just, I think it's really cool. This game has fantastic music. Alright, now the water level. So now, I said that this game is really easy to get into, and I still mean that. But there is one thing that you guys need to understand if you're ever going to get into this game. This has a lot of auto-scrollers. Well, these are... Okay, so there's 2 on-the-rail levels, and then there's 1 auto-scroller. The problem being that the auto-scroller is 8 minutes long. And then these 2 levels totaling to, like, about 4 minutes... 45 seconds, 5 minutes, I think. It's pretty bad. Well, no, it's actually more like 5.5, actually. My bad. It kind of sucks, but there's some cool things you can do, like mine moves. They're a little bit hard to do, but not too bad. If I can get it. Much to talk about in these levels, because these levels are pretty self-explanatory usually. So I mean, other than just the fact that they went from mashing the B button to boost to somewhat optimized levels, not really much to talk about here. In the 100% categories where you have to collect all the pack dots, it's kind of a bitch, but I mean, they're not too bad. You got used to it, you know. I guess what else is there to talk about this game? I feel kind of bad for the other World games, that because of this game that they kind of get overshadowed. Pac-Man World 1, 3, and Rally are all very good speed games. They do have higher skill floors. Well, maybe except for Rally. Rally is just kind of a racing game that you can probably just, like, that you can kind of get into really easily. So, that and this game share a very low skill floor. Pac-Man World 3 and Pac-Man World 1 share a really high skill floor comparatively, but they're not too bad either. World 1 is kind of a brutal game, no matter how you slice it. Especially some of the skips. But they're still really good games. Really good speed games. I think especially Pac-Man World 1 and Pac-Man World 3 definitely deserve more attention in terms of speedrunning. If you like games that are more glitchy throughout, Pac-Man World 3 is a really good one. If you like games that are just hyper movement intensive and just bonkers, World 1 is more like your go-to. And if you just like kart racers with good mechanics, Rally is a good pick. I don't know if it's as good of a pick as like Mario Kart Wii or something, but it's still a good pick. I guess that just more so depends on your taste. You have to have other speedruns for like all the retro Pac-Man stuff too, and all the maze games, which is always a treat because Namco keeps putting out really good maze games for some reason instead of working on like a world game. But yeah. Pac-Man World 3 is a boring game. That doesn't make it a bad speed game. I agree that Pac-Man World 3 is a boring game. I've played it. It's not really that fun. But speedrunning it, though, is a different story. The infamous 8-minute stress test. I like the whole deal behind the 8-minute stress test. Quick explanation. This level is 8 minutes, and then at the time that the funny name came up with it, the boss that comes after this level was at one point the hardest boss in the game. Now it's not, but it was at one point, and it was also had garnered a notorious reputation. Yeah. It was kind of funny when that was first figured out. So it was initially like, okay, 2-cycle I think was like the norm when I first started. You have to take off all 4 propellers, and it was a matter of knocking off the propellers before the whale left, before the big mechanical whale left, and it was fine. It actually did a very good job. But now it's like the normal. As setups became more viable and as more research was done. However, then 1-cycle got found out where you knock off all 4 propellers in one go. And it kind of just blew everything out of proportion. So now, it was a really, really serious run killer before, but to this day, it's still, like, pretty bad. Not as bad, but still pretty bad. I'm ashamed to say that I've only gotten it once ever in my life. On a whim, mostly. I need to really sit down and practice it. If I can get it, like, somewhat consistent one day. I think it was found by Roos, who is, like, the original, like, psychopath for this game. Roos is, he's largely retired from this game, or at least I'm pretty sure he is. He, at one point, was coming in, like, every year. Like, he would just randomly show up every year to just knock whatever world record was existing at the time. But then he stopped doing that. So I'm pretty sure at this point he's retired. But Roos was left quite a bit of a legacy. He would always seem to come back, grind the game, learn all the new stuff that was found while he was gone, and then whip everyone's ass. It was really cool. I remember, though, first watching his runs and then first watching him stream and stuff like that. It was really cool because I kind of, like, looked up to him because it was like, oh, wow, it's really, really fantastic runner. And then that's how I actually got access to things like the Skype Discord and stuff, where I met some people that I now consider some fantastic friends. That's how I got into that original Skype group. It was through Ruse. I think I messaged him on Twitch. I think I messaged him on Twitch congratulating him on a world record he got or something. And then that's how I think that's how we started talking, and then he invited me to the Skype group. Skype was an interesting time. It really was. I'm so glad Discord exists now because it's so much more organized and neater and better. Discord and speedrun.com have done wonders for getting more speedruns out there and creating places where speedruns can be hosted, because it's rather just, it's not really a very like it's not a very out there thing, you know. It's still, it's even now though, despite how big it's gotten, it's a little bit more underground than a lot of things. Especially back when Discord was still new, it was still very much underground. I'm just glad we don't have to sit through a bunch of shitty Skype groups. That was a horrible, horrible time. Oops. I remember in that Skype group, the first reactions to the Japanese version of the game. Bruce was poking around on Nico Nico, and he was watching, I think, someone just do a casual playthrough of the game in Japanese, and he was just baffled by what he was looking at, and he was sending screenshots and links in the Skype group. So us as a collective set of speedrunners were just baffled by what we were looking at with the changes to make the game easier and the amount of changes that there were. And it was really funny. And then what eventually started kickstarting into people actually playing and researching the game was I went out and on Scoured eBay, and I found a copy of the Japanese version of the game for like, it was like 30 bucks, I think, including shipping. And I got the game and I burned the ISO. And once I burned the ISO, I distributed it to some people, and I also played it on emulator because I didn't have a Japanese PlayStation 2. And that's what got us into actually being able to play it more. And then that's when all the stuff started coming about, like, oh, this was changed, oh, this was changed, oh, this was changed. Oh, this got removed, this got moved here. You know, it was really cool. It was a really fascinating time. And then the same thing happened recently when a prototype got leaked of the game. That was a few months before it came out, I think. Or a few months before the last build was made. It was the same deal. It's like us all scouring the build to look at different changes made to the game. Not many were made, but it was still really cool. Alright, let's stand at this level. Alright, well time. I love this song, by the way. It's such a good song. So each propeller takes 9 hits to blow off. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 1, 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I got the 2 cycle, but that's basically how it'd go. So if I got the whole 1 cycle, that last propeller would have blown off and the fight would have been over already. So it does a lot of really quick work with it. Being said though, if you are gonna speedrun this game and you are not doing the one cycle, leave that last propeller there. That one on the left is just the easiest one to hit. Having the two top propellers start going off screen is way more annoying. Trust me. Speaking from experience here. Oh, jeez. Let's do this and this. Congratulations to McKidd for winning the race. To honestly nobody's surprise. With 40-28, that's really good. That's a really, really good time. Oh, this song is a huge banger. Probably my favorite song. It's such a good song. Nacho Brado finished with 41-45. Nice. Second place for Nacho. If I have to take a guess, I think Frogs is probably going to finish third, and Frenchie's probably going to finish fourth. That's my opinion. That's probably what's going to happen. Frogs finished third with a 42-32. The slow ass on boardwalk. Ow. Oh, damn. I'm surprised nobody's finished 4th yet. That's interesting. I would have expected somebody like French to be done by now. Or Slayer to be done by now. What? Whoa, don't. What do you mean? Ah, damn. Okay. I was super, super slow, but that's whatever. That's fine. I didn't die, and that's what I care about. Nobody's still clocked in for 4th. I might have totally gotten 4th if I didn't, like, completely botch this level. And technically, I'm still in the running for 4th. I'm not gonna put my hopes on that. Oop. Unless the spooky goes really well, then I might actually get 4th. Nope. Player got 4th. 47-22. Good shit. And then Frenchie finished with 47-29. What about it? Last phase. $48-23. Nice. Listen, my goal was was under 50 minutes. I got that, so I'm okay. With like very little practice, I'm totally okay with this. GG Slayer. Hey, thank you Nacho for this tier 1 sub. GG's to you guys as well. Oh, jeez. Okay. Took you hours to complete the level and you did in like a minute. That's because we just don't do half the level. We just skip around and we don't do like any of the level. The level's like a really confusing maze, but if you just completely break it, it no longer turns into a maze. And also, I've been playing this game for way too fucking long. You hit finish 30 seconds late? How did you do that? Not last good enough. That too. I mean, I was kind of confident I wasn't going to get last. Also, I guess, like, while I'm doing this whole retrospective on this whole thing, there is a particular person I want to mention, and that is Mantra TV. Their contributions to this community have been astounding and extremely amazing. For 6 years, I've known them about 6.5 years, and I've watched them grow into a fantastic person. and I've watched what they've done for the community. And I guess I just want to add that they were really special to this community, you know? And being special means that you would be remembered and missed for a very long time. And unfortunately, on January 10th, she passed away. And I want to note that this race is for you, you know? This race is for your contributions to the community. Without you, it wouldn't have been pushed so far low. This is also just me thanking you for how much you've impacted my life. This is me appreciating you very much. I love you and I miss you so much. I wish you were here to run this with us. Rest in peace, Mantra. Alright, I'm gonna cut stream before I start crying for fucking 50 minutes. Thank you all for stopping by. Really fun run. I enjoyed the commentary of this run, just on a retrospective of the growth of this game. So I'm gonna highlight it for that reason. It wasn't an amazing run, but it was under 15 minutes, and that was my goal. So, thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoy yourself. Happy birthday, Pac-Man World 2. The most important game in my life. And thank you to everybody that worked on this game. You've really done a lot. This game is fantastic. The community is fantastic. And we appreciate you making something that brings us all together as a community. Thank you.